This little reality is but one of many that will be destroyed in moments. It has always been my destiny to be the master of all that is, was, or will be. With the aid of the serpent I will undo what has been and is now, and I shall master all that will be.
Hello, my name is Kate and I'm gonna tell you about the lich, who can give you a hand without batting an eye in D&D. Vecna was an ascended to godhood lich who was considered one of the most powerful liches to inhabit the world of Greyhawk and Multiverse. He goes under names of the Whispered One, Master of the Spider Throne, the Undying King, Maimed Lord, the Chain God, Lord of the Hand and the Eye. He is referenced in many adventures from modern times such as Tome of Annihilation, Descent into Avernus, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, to even games, Baldur's Gate 2, Planescape Torment, Neverwinter Nights, and can be met in various new and old adventures such as Vecna Lives, Vecna Reborn, Eye of Vecna Die. He helped Acererak, battled Iuz the Evil, met with orcus and many others. But how did he become like that? Let's figure it out. Vecna was born on Oerth to a human woman called Mazel. Nobody knows who his father was, yet one day Mazel bore a child. She was a poor woman secretly practicing witchcraft for the living. They were both the descendants of the very few left Oerth race of humans, refugees, who were talented wizards. Vecna and Mazel lived in the suburbs of Flan's city of Fleece and belonged to an untouchable caste, the lowest caste in the hierarchy. As all mothers want, she wanted only good for her child and started to teach him arcane arts when he grew up. The boy was very talented and learned quickly the new tricks. After a while, citizens of Fleece City found about his mother and accused her of witchery. She was publicly burned on a stake. It is not known, but I think it might be Vecna who failed to hide his magical talents or accidentally told anyone about his mother, which resulted in her death. Seeing his mother burn, the young boy filled with anger and hatred. They were poor, they were broken, that's how the city cared for them. It was not just, he wanted to save his mother. From that moment, Vecna became obsessed with overcoming deaths, coming back and taking revenge on everyone responsible at all costs. He promptly fled the city in his youth and studied magic arts in secret, promising to return one day with revenge. During this period, he had many teachers who helped him to reach the highest levels of dark arts. It is not known whether he traveled across Greyhawk to receive the knowledge, yet someday he met the serpent named Moxlack, an interplanar being who taught him magic arts, a mysterious and very powerful entity with unknown origins. Some say it was a true form of Asmodeus, others believe it was just hallucination and imagination of Vecna brought by his madness. He was also visited by Orcus, who saw the potential in Vecna and taught him the secrets of Undeath. It is not known what Vecna promised in return. After that, he started to experiment on the mortals to better understand the siphoning rituals and spells, which would help him to attain the Undeath. After many years of studying, he finally transformed into a lich. Yet he continued gathering knowledge, power, followers, allies, and undead army to take revenge on the city of Fleece. Being a 1000-year-old lich, he started conquering nearby lands of Shadowmar Valley and slowly crawling to his pressured target. During this period, he also saved young Acererak from fire and made him his apprentice. If you don't know the lore of Acererak, you can check my video. When Vecna was ready, he assaulted Fleece City. The battle raged across the streets and priests of Foltus, the god of light, channeled their radiant energies to strike down the lich. Acererak managed to drag back Vecna from the battle, saving his life. In fact, it was Acererak from the beginning who was plotting all of this, just to get closer to his master and to his secrets of Undeath. Vecna rewarded his trusted lieutenant, making him a general of all undead armies, and ordered him to help him prepare for the second assault of the city. During the second attempt, the city fell, and Vecna didn't give mercy to anyone. After the battle, Vecna founded his own empire, which stretched across Sheldumar Valley to Narduf, and ruled over the lands for many years, keeping two trusted supporters, Acererak and Cass the Bloody-Handed, nearby. Yet Acererak soon fled after Vecna uncovered the earlier plot, leaving the lich with a battle-hungry paladin. Vecna got close with his lieutenant as much as it was possible to say for calculating, careful and skeptical lich. He taught him the arts of war and prolonged his life through necromancy rituals, eventually creating powerful artifacts for him, a silver mask which gave Cass vampirism ability to feed on mortals and prolong own life, and a sword made from the core of the frozen star. Together, they expand the empire to the Azure Sea. During this and consequent times of rulership, Vecna created several books, namely Ordinary Necromancy, Vecna's Ineffable Variorium, Book of the Vile Darkness, and Tome of Steel Tongue. Yet, the sentient weapon slowly poisoned the mind of Cass and turned the bloodthirsty paladin against his master. On the day of the Vecna's godhood ritual, Cass rushed to the rotten tower and managed to slash and poke Vecna's hand and eye. The energy blasted the tower, yet Vecna managed to send Cass to the external prison and then died, leaving only hand, the eye and the sword behind. Yet his spirit remained. It is unknown why he didn't reappear using his phylactery. Probably it was also damaged by the explosion. And so for the next 100 of years he roamed as a spirit across Oerth, collecting powers from his followers. Based on the Vistani knowledge, it is said that Cult of Vecna taught its members that gods cursed the lich, being afraid and jealous of his powers. The cult was spread across the land and contained many evil-aligned clerics who dedicated their life to service their master and to search for knowledge and power at any costs. Yet, they acted in secret, and hence only two built Vecna temples are known in Gloomwrath and Zersadlan. It is said that worshipping Vecna was banned and punished by death across the realms. The hierarchy of the cult followed the body part names, such as Voice of Vecna, Heart of Vecna, Hand and Eye of Vecna, who were horrid monstrosities with eye and hand instead of heads, Thought of Vecna, Memories of Vecna, and organs like teeth, fingers, blood and spawn. Through hundreds of years, the cult was helping Vecna to gather his strength back, and finally the lich reinstated itself as a demigod. He found a Citadel Cavitius, a gigantic skull-shaped fortress city, which also served as a prison to Cass, on the border region to the plane of the negative energy. Vecna started to rule it by 358 before the Common Years, and ruled there for the next 800 years. Since it's a first date I found on Vecna, I assume he was born between 2050 to 2000, given he was already 1000 years old when he besieged the Fleet City and hundreds of years passed after that. This means that he conquered Fleet City in around 1050 and 1000 before Common Years, and after that ruled his empire for about 700 or 800 years before going to the Citadel of Cavitius. The Citadel was of interest to many forces and entities. During the rulership of Vecna, it was visited by Ili Cromlich, who was a cambion and a worker of armory in Sigil, City of Doors. Nobody knows what happened inside the Citadel, but after, Ili became a trusted follower and agent of Vecna. He went back to the City of Doors and started planning a diversion there, weakening defenses and wards and preparing it for the arrival of Vecna. In 581, Vecna set in motion his plan to overthrow Earth's gods by becoming a great deity on his own. It was rumored that Vecna found a godlink on the other planes and experimented with him, learning its secrets, which would help him to attain what he most desired. He manipulated Halmadar the Cruel, the ruthless fighter who came into possession of Hand and Eye of Vecna and slayed the entire Circle of Eight. The Lich appeared at Tovak Baragu, an ancient Stonehenge-like place of great power, to perform his ritual, yet he was stopped by survived Mordekainen and adventurers, and banished back to Citadel Cavitius on the Plains of Ash. In 5 years, in 586, dark powers, being afraid of Vecna's attempt to become a god, casted him and the whole Citadel Cavitius to domains of the Dread. The teleportation helped Gus, who was imprisoned there, to escape, yet he was sucked into the demiplane as well. After the defeat of their master, cultists of Vecna immediately reformed Tovak Baragu into their own transdimensional fortress, as the site proved to half exist on several planes simultaneously and acted as a one-way gate to the master's domain. They placed various minor remains of Vecna such as tombs, scalp, teeth into its chambers, waiting for the master's return. While Vecna continued to rule over Cavitius transported to Ravenloft, Kaz became the Lord of Tovak, which was partially drawn into the domains too. The two bordering realms formed the Burning Peaks. So technically, Vecna was Strath's bad neighbor, as they both resided in the domains of the Dread. Vecna's realm was half of an island in the demiplane, always covered in darkness. The ash sand spread across this half drained the life force of those who ventured into it. The citadel consisted of several floors. Its walls were made from bones. Inside the citadel lived almost 10,000 humans who were slaves and servants to the undead. Every human tried to acquire attributes of the dead: pale skin, thin complexity, cruelty, just in hope to get the likes of their 5,000 undead masters living there as well. During years of imprisonment, Vecna was visited by the serpent again. Together, they attempted to free the Lich from the chains through the evil ritual which was prepared by Walker the Obedient, the leader of the cult of Vecna in Torgorak. He wanted to use his pregnant niece Mary to give birth to a new vessel for its master, but failed. After several years, a bit before 591, the serpent arrived to Vecna and told him about Iuz the Evil, a hellspawn of Iggwilv and Grast, a demigod whose powers can be used to break the chains of dark powers and leave the demiplane of the Dread. Being driven by this opportunity, Vecna sets his plan in motion, manipulating and luring Iuz the Evil to his citadel through Tovak Baragu. Dreaming to become a powerful being himself, Iuz swallows the lure and obtains two powerful artifacts that are capable of killing Vecna in the current state: the Sword of Kaz and Eye of Vecna. Yet, it was part of the Lich manipulation, as only the hand of Vecna and the sword could kill the demigod forever. During the severe battle in the citadel, Iuz lost and got consumed by the triumphant Vecna, who finally became a greater deity capable of forging reality to his own liking. Vecna escaped domains of the Dread and immediately went to Sigil, City of Doors, which acted like a hub between the realms. And now we have to remember about Eli Cromlich, who was sabotaging all the defenses inside for 100 years. When Vecna launched an assault on the City of Secrets, it had completely no wards or defenses against greater deity powers. He easily surpassed all of the defenses and established own reign over the Sigil, creating the Church of Vecna at the heart of the city, surrounding it with 4 patrolling spheres of annihilation, as well as establishing a large purifying chamber inside that stripped a person of all memories except that glorified Vecna. From Sigil, he planned to go from realm to realm, god to god, changing everything to his liking. Yet, he was stopped by the combined forces of the city resistance and adventurers. He was defeated, Iuz the Evil soul managed to escape from Vecna's grasp, and the Lich was thrown out of Sigil, leaving to be a lesser deity from now on. So, is he a strong character? Yes. From the lore perspective, He was the most powerful lich in the universe who was able to attain godhood. What else should I say? From a technical perspective, I found his stats in Open Grave Secrets of Undead. It's not applicable to 5th edition of D&D, yet gives you a good idea who you're dealing with. He is a level 35 undead deity with more than 1050 HP, lots of armor, hell loads of spell slots and godlike abilities. Fun fact about Vecna, that his name is actually an anagram of Jack Vance, whose books inspired D&D magic system. And now a bit of DM tips on how to play him. If you set your campaign in the good god times, always focus on adventurers who are the holders of major relics, the sword, the hand and the eye. Your supportive minions can be assigned to retrieve minor artifacts if they are present. If you are introducing him to a modern campaign, try to think of his motives. Probably it would be some knowledge connected to attaining godhood power once again. And since he is a lesser deity now, try to use his cult members to be the main opposing force in your campaign. And that's all about Vecna, and we will probably hear about him quite soon again, as he was announced to be the big bad guy in the new season of Stranger Things. And also, I think we will hear about him in D&D as well, as after all, he is a power-hungry deity who will definitely enact some evil plan to attain greater power. And if you like the lore, please press like and subscribe button, and tell me in the comments below who else you would like to hear about. And see you next time.